Hey guys, happy almost Thanksgiving. I thought what would be more perfect this week than hopping on and talking about how to be more mindful this holiday season as we all go into Thanksgiving here in the States. And for you guys out in the rest of the world, you're also going into your holiday season. So let's just get some of this going. And then if you guys have any questions or things you want to dive deeper on, I would love to hear from you either in the comments below this video or in the Facebook group. Let me know what specific items that you found helpful in this video or what specific items you want me to help you navigate this holiday season. So I'm just gonna go through I made some notes about 6 different tactics you can use to just have an overall more mindful holiday season. So just dealing with the overall experience as well as some eating things. So the number one thing is to be conscious of setting intentions, right? So obviously everybody knows like me from my book, Eat with Intention, and I'm all about setting intentions, but it really does make a difference, especially around the holidays. So when we think about setting intentions, obviously like from Eat with Intention, every recipe in Eat with Intention has a mantra on it, right? So it's like, I actually just made this veggie chili from Eat with Intention for my friends last week when I was in New York. And the mantra was, I'm a powerful creator, right? So it's just thinking about as I was putting all the different elements into the chili, and that mantra, for me, that mantra is also meant to enable people to experiment and have fun with the chili. Chili is one of those things, as long as you get kind of like the base ingredients right, like the rest can really be a creative project for you. And you can add in some fun things. You can add in things that speak to your taste buds, you feel are resonating with you that particular season. So I love the fact that I'm a powerful creator kind of connects with that making of the chili. Now, during the holiday time, a lot of us are in the kitchen, a lot of us are cooking, and that's the first place we can start with our intentions. It's not the last place, so don't worry, we're going to take it far beyond the kitchen. But first to start off with is when you're making something, really thinking, what is the intention of this dish, right? So sometimes I often am the person that brings like the salad or like the quinoa salad to a holiday because I want to make sure that there's something I can eat, but I also want to offer people a healthier alternative. So when I make that salad option, I make that veggie option, I always make it with the intention of giving people like genuine cellular nourishment. Like let this really nourish people. You know, a lot of people do a lot of damage around the holidays, whether it's drinking or overeating with sweets. And so I feel like my contribution of that salad or of that veggie plate is really me taking a stand for their well-being in a gentle, loving, delicious way. So if you're making dessert though, right? Making dessert, like let this add more sweetness into the lives of all of those I love. So bringing that intention with you into the kitchen. As specifically to one of the things I wanted to talk about, which we'll hit on, but one of the things I want to talk about is like you get to decide how you feel, right, around the holidays. And oftentimes what happens, and I'm so guilty of this, so that's why I can call myself out on it, is that sometimes around the holidays, I have so many things I have to cook things for. Like I have 2 Friendsgivings back to back next week. And so I'll be cooking like a lot during that time to make sure I can bring stuff. And so oftentimes what happens is instead of actually enjoying the moment of the cooking and of that experience and of holiday time, we are just trying to like get through it. We're just trying to survive and we're stressed about it. And that's not fun. So what I try to do is I try to plan ahead and actually allot for time so I can actually have enough time to be able to cook whatever I need to cook. And, you know, adjust my schedule in whatever way I need to do that to make that possible. But also, regardless what happens, even if I'm kind of in a rush, you know, I'm trying to get it done fast, I make sure I put on fun, festive music, and I love to light a candle that's like holiday scented. So maybe like pumpkin spice for Thanksgiving or some peppermint for Christmas, any sort of candle. I just love it when that aroma is in the house, so like it smells like the holidays. And just taking that moment to actually just release yourself and surrender of anything else you were supposed to do, of anything else you have to do afterwards, and just being there in the kitchen, enjoying the process, making some beautiful food for your family. The second part 2 of intention is setting an intention for your experience this holiday season. So similar to your experience in the kitchen, bringing that into your relationships, into your families or your friendsgivings or your holiday party or your gift shopping, right? Before you're doing these holiday activities, I think sometimes we watch them in movies and we're like, oh, it looks so romantic, but it never feels that way in my life, right? And that's because we're not setting the intention. We're, once again, it's just like another thing to check off the to-do list instead of really sinking into, when I go holiday shopping, I like just go holiday shopping, I love like the Christmas music at the mall. I'll even like maybe get myself like a coconut milk hot chocolate. And I just like, I'm just so present for shopping for people and like the excitement of how fun it is to like get people gifts. And not thinking about, like really just allotting that time to be present for it. So it's not this like rushed, crazy thing. And again, even if it is a rushed, crazy thing, and sometimes that happens and you're on a short timeline, really setting that intention so you can even enjoy it for the time. You can do something efficiently and still be in a good mood, right? And the same thing for your gathering. So, something I started, a few years ago with my family was I actually started setting the intention to have deeper connections with my extended family. And I had gone to, I always go to Thanksgiving and Christmas Eve, especially back when I lived east, with my dad's family and my mom, my grandma, and everyone, but there's their extended families there. And there was, it'd always be like the same kind of people that you end up talking to, that you like have closer relationships with, even with your family. And so I really set the intention to, have a more intimate conversation with a family member who I don't talk to that easily, that maybe I haven't like had, gotten to know on as deep of a level as some of the other ones, which really shifts the experience, right? When you really go in there with the intent for connection and enjoyment and connecting and actually, wow, I really want to know about how everyone's year was. I really want to know, like, what were their highs, what were their lows, what are the things they're looking forward to for the next year. You can have such more meaningful gatherings that way when you go in with the intention of finding those things out. So that whole thing was our number one tip. Number two is to ask to see everyone with love. So it's the hardest thing sometimes when you're with family, right? And thank you. It's so easy, right, to get triggered by our family. I used to joke that, of course, your parents know how to trigger you more than anyone because they're the ones that installed all the buttons. So they know how to press them really well. And that's just true with family, right? Or it could be even true for some close friends. We all have, I think everybody has their own family dynamic. And sometimes most of the time, it's probably not even anything your family's doing. You're probably just so stressed with your own stuff that it bleeds out into that. So when we really set the intention during the holiday season of I'm willing to see this with love, when we ask for those miracles, and that's really something that it's a muscle you have to flex. I think, maybe there are some of you out there that have absolutely perfect, like Brady Bunch kind of families where everybody just loves each other and does sing-alongs, or maybe Partridge Family, that's what I was thinking, Partridge Family kind of families, where everybody's just like, but I think a lot of us have interesting dynamics around the holidays because everybody's kind of like trying to get their thing done and cook all the things and do all the gift shopping, and people are coming in from town and you're seeing all these different people and you're meeting significant others of people, there's a lot of stuff going on. So, or your office parties, right? There's just a lot of different events where I always seem to feel like the tension is high around the holidays and people can just really rub people the wrong way. So a great intention or a great kind of challenge for you this holiday season would be, can you see everyone with love? And, A Course in Miracles says everything is either love or a call for love. And I find that little statement particularly helpful when you're dealing with it. Yeah, holidays are like, there's so much pressure to have it be the perfect day. Exactly. And to have like the perfect family. I think it's so funny because I feel like we're all chasing this perfect holiday and these perfect families. And I don't think anyone has them, right? You can love your family to death. And it's the same thing. I think we watch the movies and we see this like, glorious idea of like what it's supposed to be like. And I think just most normal families just have like a little bit more of a quirkier dynamic, let's say. So really going into it with everything is either love or a call for love. And then you, let's say when you're like, Uncle Joe is, doing his thing where he asks you if you're going to have babies for like the 70th time, and you're trying to explain to Uncle Joe that like you're going to have a boyfriend. Instead of being frustrated with him or being like, oh, I can't deal with this or whatever, you can look at that with love. Everything is either love or a call for love. And so maybe that's one, if we put that love lens on it, then all of a sudden we can look at it as like, oh, he's just excited for nieces or nephews or whatever that is, like uncle, whatever. He's excited for little kids around, right? You could also see that as him trying to connect with you. Oftentimes, I think when extended family that don't see us that often ask us questions that make us uncomfortable, it's not even because, like, it's not intentional. I don't think, sometimes it might be, but I don't think it's intentional a lot of the time. It's just that they don't see us that much, so they might not have more specific questions to ask us. So sometimes that's why people ask like the general stuff. How's your work? How's, who are you dating someone? Are you guys going to get married? Are you guys going to have babies? Or like, how are the kids? Or how's your husband? I think a lot of times people just go to those questions, not because they're trying to push a certain button with you that might be sensitive, but just because they're trying to have that connection, right? And so I think when you see it and you receive it in that way, then you can say, oh, okay, here's a person who is trying to connect with me over something. And that maybe doesn't know that I'm not in a place right now where I want to have kids, or I'm not in a place right now where, whatever, I don't know, like, but just sitting with that, right? Or sometimes like someone asks you how your job is, and maybe they don't even know that you've just lost your job, or they don't even know that you're struggling right now. And so I think sometimes we automatically go on the defense. We automatically go to that, like, oh, I can't believe you would ask that, right? Or whatever that thing is. Instead of just taking that moment, being present with someone and realizing that it's a call for love. It's them trying to have connection. So you can be if you're, unaffected by it, it's so much more easy for you to neutrally introduce them to something that's going on in your life. Uncle Joe, actually, I'm not looking to have kids because I haven't found my person yet. So I'm kind of waiting for that. But you know what? I'd love to hear about how you and Aunt Amy met, right? And so, you can, ask them questions about that. You can, invite them to learn more about you. Actually, I'm not planning on having kids or whatever it is, but I want to tell you about this really cool thing that happened to me this year when I was traveling to India, right? And so I think when we go in with that different intention, we ask to see everything with love, we can have a way better experience with all the people in our lives and actually have really interesting conversations and have that connection that all of us want. I think that's a good thing to remember. Totally. And also, yeah, like the fact that a lot of people are drinking during the holidays does make an impact. And they're sometimes not thinking. And so it's, really just being in that space, seeing everything with love. You can have your healthy boundaries, so to speak, right? You can, if you need to get up and go to another room, or if you need to excuse yourself, if you need to go outside and take a walk or something like that, you have to take care of yourself, of course, during the holidays. But I think they'll go so much better if you just make that active choice to try to see everything with love, to try to see everything as love or a call for love, and really a call for connection. I think so much is a call for connection during the holidays, and we all have that deep desire in us that we want to have those deep, juicy relationships with our family members. And a lot of us are just clumsy about going there. I mean, I'll say that, I have the best of intentions, but I'm sure sometimes I don't ask the perfect question because I don't know as much context as I might for a dear friend. Okay, so now I'm just going to do a little strategy around food. So the first thing I always say is holiday mornings make sure you eat a healthy breakfast. And depending what time you're going to an event, you might want to eat a healthy lunch too. Because the worst, I used to do this growing up, and we'd always get into the habit because holiday mornings, everybody's so excited, like you're getting dressed, you're getting ready, everything's going on. And so sometimes you forget to eat. Or sometimes we would eat breakfast and then I'd forget to grab dinner because we were going kind of, around lunch. I forget to eat lunch because we were going around lunch to, a family member's house. And the most important thing you can do if you want to eat with intention during this holiday season is make sure that your breakfast and your lunch, or at least your breakfast leading up to whatever holiday meal it is healthy and grounded and satiating. So even if for you, that means like a veggie omelet, fine. For me, sometimes that means a green smoothie. Like I know I'm going to eat heavy later. I just want something light but satiating and nutritious. Eating, if it's oatmeal for you, I feel like for me, I probably don't do oatmeal because I know I'm probably going to be having more carbs later. But even doing like an almond milk yogurt, finding like a breakfast, it doesn't have to be like crazy, but finding something that's going to be satiating and feel healthy so that when you go to your event, you're not like a ravenous beast. Because when you're a ravenous beast, then you end up eating all of these things that you don't even want to eat. The second thing has to do with your water. So first of all, you guys probably know that I'm like obsessed with putting essential oils in my water. It's kind of the same concept. If you don't have essential oils, you could just cut up some lemon or cut up some ginger, or even pineapple, something like that. Put it in your water for a little flavor. But I like to use specific oils in my water just to help digestion. I do it all the time, but especially during the holidays, it can be a really great secret weapon to have before and after your meal. So just putting either like a little peppermint, a little lemon, or ginger. I actually use this. I just got this one. It's called Slim and Sassy. It tastes really good, and it's really just grapefruit peel, lemon, peppermint, ginger root, cinnamon bark. So it has like a mixture of a bunch of things for digestion. And it helps me, one, drink more water. Because especially if you're drinking during the holiday season, if you're drinking some alcohol, you should make sure you're drinking a lot of water too. But even if you're not, I think drinking water is so important. If you're on the East Coast or even if you're in LA, sometimes the heat's a little bit up during the holiday season, or it's just like you can become dehydrated. So you want to drink a lot of water. But also you're giving your digestive system a little extra help in processing everything that's going on. So just a little note with the water, I recommend drinking it before you're going to eat. So drink it for the hour or two, whatever, leading up to eating. And then don't drink it while you're eating. And then when you're done eating, about 20 minutes after eating, then start it again. I also love when people are having coffee and cake and stuff after a holiday meal. I love having a nice cup of peppermint tea or some hot water with lemon. That really helps me digest, so I don't feel bloated, I don't feel gross, I don't feel for the rest of the day, and I don't wake up with a food hangover, which I'm sure a lot of you guys have experienced when you eat super healthy and then all of a sudden you eat a little bit more, let's say, I don't want to say naughty because maybe you eat your holiday food. You can feel kind of gross the next morning. So that's a little hack that I use that really helps me. And then another hack that I use during holidays, I don't know about you, but my family does everything family style. So we usually always have a bunch of different dishes set up in the kitchen area and the dining room table. And then everybody goes and puts whatever they want on a plate. And so for this, I think it's really helpful to have a one plate rule. So my one plate, because what happens during the holidays is you're gabbing, you're talking to everyone, especially at least I will say my family, we all sit down to eat at the same time. So it's not so much you're grabbing and talking and stuff. It's you're grabbing and you're sitting down. If your family doesn't have that kind of a thing, grab your food and sit down and eat it. Even if you're eating it with one other family member, sit down, eat it. Don't eat a full plate of food like this while you're talking to someone, right? Because that's what happens. Because when that happens, that's when we eat 4 plates of food, and then we end up having terrible stomachache and feeling awful later that night. And it's really just because when you're doing that, when you're socializing so much and you're engaged with other people and you're standing, your body is not even registering that you're eating sometimes because you're not paying any attention to your food. You're just putting it in your mouth. So really just having that moment, get one plate, even if you fill it up, like this is what I do every holiday and it really helps. I'm allowed to put as much as I want on that one plate, right? But that's it, no seconds. And the why I do that is because oftentimes I would say if I know how much food to put on a plate to satiate myself, right? So if I put, because mind you, by the time you're even making your meal plate, you've already had appetizers, you know there's dessert coming. Like we don't need to eat 3 meal plates, right? You can just make yourself a normal size plate, and that's important. Like get like a normal size plate. You don't have to use like a baby one, and make a full plate. And then that's it. And like eat it slowly. And, you know, at the time you might be like, oh, I don't know. Sometimes there's that energy of like everybody else is going up for seconds and thirds. And, you know, you're in the holiday spirit and you don't let yourself eat this way maybe a lot of the time. So you're just like trying to get after it. But that's, you know, for me, it's not even so much, I don't say this for like the calories or anything like that. I say this just because I want you to feel good and have energy this holiday season, because what happens is you do that one day, then you're shot for the rest of the night. You pretty much want to go to sleep immediately after dinner because you've ate too much and you feel horrible. And so now you're not present with your family anymore because you don't feel good and you feel too stuffed or bloated. And then the same thing, then you wake up the next day and you aren't like, you don't have your energy, you don't feel good because you have a food hangover because you ended up eating 4 plates of food by accident last night, right? So it's really just so you can feel energized and feel good around your family. And I feel like just having that one plate for mealtime really just helps me kind of keep a good parameter on it. And like I said, it's not about restricting yourself at all, but just about trying to keep your portions normal like you would in a normal meal so you don't run into that endless buffet trap. And then my last thing that I wanted to share with you guys is I actually have this whole holiday emergency kit that I created. It's like $19, and I created a whole like game plan, holiday game plan PDF you could print out and fill stuff in. It has a bunch of different videos on different holiday tips for navigating and stuff. But one of the things from that I wanted to share with you guys that I find to be the most important thing is creating a game plan ahead of time. So with a lot of my clients that are struggling with food allergies or food sensitivities and trying to eat healthier, trying to eat the things that work for their body, what they find is that during the holidays it can be so hard because you have all of your extended family trying to get you to eat this, not telling you. I'll never forget like my first Thanksgiving when I had just gone vegan, and you know everybody was like, oh, you can totally eat the butternut squash soup, you can totally eat the butternut squash soup. And then after I was eating it, I overheard my aunt telling someone else like, oh, by the way, there's cream in it. I was like, oh, okay, thanks. But like shit like that just happens in the holidays, and it's okay. You roll with the punches. But what I like to do is have a holiday game plan. So I actually created this PDF for that little holiday kit, but you can do that your own. And I like to decide, what are my parameters? What am I setting this holiday season? What is my game plan? So for instance, like my game plan for Thanksgiving is going to be, you know, I'm going to be driving down to Thanksgiving, up to Thanksgiving in the Bay Area in the morning of Thanksgiving. So I'm going to probably have cooked all the day before to bring stuff. And so I'm going to go that morning, get a smoothie from one of my favorite smoothie places here for the ride, and maybe even pack a salad. So I have a salad to eat as well. And then the sides I'm going to bring for Thanksgiving are going to be veggie forward sides, so that I know that I at least have that as well to load up on while I'm at Thanksgiving. And again, creating healthy parameters. So again, I'm going to have my one plate rule. Like I can put as much as I want on my plate, but I can have one plate. And then for dessert, same thing, a dessert size plate, but one plate. And then if there's any other rules, so for instance, if you yourself, and like I said, this is not me telling you you have to put any restrictions on yourself. This is you acknowledging what feels good for you, what you want. So for instance, if you don't want to drink this holiday season, and this sometimes happens for me too, I'm like, I don't want to drink. So I will go in with a game plan. Okay, so my game plan is I'm not going to drink. I'm going to bring my own seltzer water, or I'm going to make sure that I just keep on drinking a lot of water, and I'll bring my little essential oils in my pocketbook. My family already knows, they just know that that's me. That's who I am. I'm doing that every year. And maybe I'll bring even like a tea sachet for dessert, just in case they don't have the tea that I like. And so for instance, some of my clients have been like, I am not going to have dairy. I'm not going to have sugar because they're not working for me right now. But I'm going to allow myself to have some gluten. I'm going to keep it to a minimum and only have that amazing pumpkin bread that my, Aunt Lisa always makes, but then otherwise I'm going to stick to, my usual stuff. And so it's not really about what your specific game plan is, but just that it's helpful that you think of your game plan and you just have a moment with yourself. It could take you 10 minutes with a cup of tea tonight and decide, am I drinking? Am I not drinking? Am I going to have tea? Should I bring some peppermint tea or some of my own tea for after dinner? Am I going to do the one plate rule, right? Is there any, what of my food allergies? Are there any of my food allergies I have to be diligent about honoring? Are there any foods that I know that don't work for me that I'm going to communicate that I'm not going to have, right? So it doesn't matter whether you have a food allergy, you just don't feel good when you eat a thing. It can help in just sharing that. So if you're like, listen, bread has really not been working for me recently, and I've been feeling so much better now that I've given it up for 2 weeks or whatever, and I know there's going to be a ton of bread at my family's house. So as soon as I go in, I'm just going to let them, maybe you tell your aunt, whoever's hosting, and be like, oh, actually, I'm not going to have bread. If she tries to give you bread, I'm not saying you could volunteer Surf Nation. You don't have to. But I'm saying, if someone in your family tries to offer you something that you can't eat because of a sensitivity or an intolerance, or just because it doesn't make you feel good and you want to have energy for the evening, just, communicate with them lovingly and say, oh, thank you so much. It looks amazing. But actually, recently I've been feeling so much better since I have not been eating bread. Right? Yeah, it's totally, yes, exactly. So many people walk into the holidays unprepared, and that's when you end up having 2 glasses of wine when you knew the alcohol was making you feel bad. That's when you accidentally end up having 5 pieces of cake because you're so stressed about the thing that your grandmother said or whatever, right? I mean, the holidays, there's a lot of stuff getting thrown at us. So if we come up with the game plan, we come up with our tactics, we set our intentions, we have a game plan around food, we take care of ourselves. Your game plan could even include the time you want to leave. Sometimes we would go to church in the mornings on Christmas, and my dad's family celebrates Christmas Eve till pretty late. So we would always have a cutoff time where I'd be like, okay, we're all going to leave by 11 p.m. so that we can get enough sleep so we could be alive for church in the morning, right? So it could be even just knowing when your out time is, or if you're hosting, knowing what time you're going to start cleaning things up and try to get people out, right? So when we have a game plan going into the holidays, we're able to really take care of ourselves. So I hope these tips were helpful. I hope they give you, just a happier, healthier holiday season that just feels good to you. It's amazing. Once I started incorporating these tips, I was really able to enjoy the holidays in a way that I had never done before. And for any of you of those who are in Appreciate, if you're an Appreciate member right now, I'm going to give you guys my emergency holiday kit for free. You just have to email us at assistant@cassandrabodzak.com. And if you're not an Appreciate member and you happen to have found this, then I will include the link below for you to be able to get that if you're interested. So I hope you guys have an amazing Thanksgiving and holiday season and beyond, and that these tips serve you. Bye.